That person who feels like they see straight into your mind might also be the one who sets you off the fastest. If you're an INFJ or an INTJ, you probably know this paradox well. A rare instant connection paired with frustrating volatility. Their bond is powerful because both share a deep, intuitive way of thinking. Yet that same shared strength creates recurring friction when logic and feelings collide. Today, we'll break down the three main areas where chaos shows up: decision-making, communication, and connection, and end with practical ways to make it work. So, let's start with the first battleground. The first and most visible clash often shows up in how INFJs and INTJs make decisions, the battle between harmony and efficiency. At the core, both types are nigh-dominant, meaning they share introverted intuition as their primary function, but their auxiliary functions differ. INFJs pair nigh with extroverted feeling, FE, while INTJs pair nigh with extroverted thinking, TE. This difference in cognitive wiring explains why the same situation can feel like opposite worlds for them. For the INFJ, Faye acts like an internal radar, always scanning for the emotional state of the group. When a choice needs to be made, their instinct is to slow down and consider how each option will affect others. Will someone feel excluded? Will tension rise or consensus hold? For them, creating harmony is not optional. It is a moral priority. The INFJ wants decisions that not only achieve the task, but also ensure that everyone feels valued and included along the way. The INTJ, in contrast, is guided by T. Their attention goes straight to results, logic, and efficiency. When faced with a decision, their focus moves to identifying the cleanest, most effective path to the goal. They tend to compartmentalize their emotions during these moments, often setting them aside to maintain clarity. It is not that the INTJ lacks empathy or doesn't care about others. It is that, in task-focused situations, they see feelings as secondary to outcomes. To them, what matters most is objective progress, and lingering too long on emotions can look like jeopardizing success. Picture the two on a group project. The INFJ checks in with each member, making sure ideas are heard and people feel considered. Meanwhile, the INTJ has already sketched the roadmap, identified the best person for each role, and is ready to move forward. Conflict surfaces when their methods collide. The INFJ sees the INTJ pushing past feelings as cold and dismissive, while the INTJ sees the INFJ's focus on morale as slowing everything down. As deadlines loom, tension escalates. The INFJ feels unseen, and the INTJ feels blocked from doing the job effectively. This is more than a mild difference in style. It's a fundamental clash of operating systems. One side measures success by how much harmony endures in the process, while the other measures it by how effectively the goal is achieved. What complicates things even further is that both types actually share many of the same larger values: authenticity, integrity, and a long-term vision. That's exactly why the friction hurts so much. Each person recognizes the other as striving towards something similar, yet the path each one takes looks like a direct challenge to the other. Here's the paradox made plain. To the INFJ, preserving group harmony is essential for the project's moral success. But to the INTJ, the same focus often appears as unnecessary delay that undermines the goal. And to the INTJ, prioritizing efficiency feels responsible and respectful of time. But to the INFJ, that very approach can register as uncaring or even threatening to the bond. Neither side is wrong. Both are trying to serve the greater good, just through completely different routes. The good news is that even small adjustments can de-escalate this recurring battle. If you're an INFJ, one practical step is to briefly name the emotional cost you were concerned about instead of stretching the process longer. For example, saying, "This decision might make some people feel excluded," is clear and gives the INTJ data they can account for. If you're an INTJ, a quick win comes from explicitly stating the goal. I am focusing on this plan because it will get us there on time. That way, the The INFJ understands your intent isn't about steamrolling, but about protecting the bigger picture. Once you start framing your differences as complementary rather than combative, it changes how you experience each other. Instead of feeling at war, you start to see how harmony and efficiency can coexist, but only if both sides learn to articulate what matters most. Of course, decision-making isn't the only place where these two types collide. Even when the plan itself is set, the way they express themselves can cause just as much conflict as the decision itself. What often creates the deepest disconnect between INFJs and INTJs isn't the decisions they make, but the way they communicate those decisions. This is where the lost in translation dynamic begins, and it can leave both sides certain that the other simply doesn't understand them. INFJs tend to lean on nuance, context, and tone when they speak. Beneath their words is often another layer they expect someone close to them to pick up on. For them, not having to explicitly spell out needs feels like proof of deep connection. INTJs, however, approach language completely differently. They prefer directness, sharp, literal communication where words match intent. To them, candor is respect, and ambiguity is just clutter. They want to hear what's meant, exactly as it's meant, and they assume others want the same. The classic birthday example makes this difference clear. When asked about gifts, an INFJ might say, "You don't need to get me anything. Just being with you is enough." But in their mind, there is an emotional subtext. They were hoping the partner will sense the unspoken desire for a thoughtful, symbolic gift that reflects care and attunement. An INTJ hears these words literally. They take the statement as a straightforward instruction not to buy a gift and often feel they were showing respect by following that exactly. So when the birthday arrives and the INTJ shows up empty-handed, they believe they've honored the INFJ's preference. Yet the INFJ may feel devastated, thinking, if they really understood me, they would have known. This disconnect creates pain on both sides. The INFJ feels overlooked and unloved, while the INTJ feels unjustly criticized, hurt by what seems like punishment for doing what was asked of them. The INTJ's literal reading is in T, indifference. It usually comes from the belief that following explicit words is the most caring and respectful choice. This loop isn't limited to birthdays. It plays out in countless everyday exchanges where the INFJ drops hints or relies on subtext, expecting deeper reading, and the INTJ listens for instructions and acts on exactly what was said. Over time, these repeated mismatches can wear down patience and trust. Both begin to feel unheard, with the INFJ seeing the INTJ as cold, and the INTJ seeing the INFJ as unclear or unfair. One quick way to highlight the frustration is to frame both logics in one beat. The INFJ thinks, if they loved me, they'd read between the lines, while the INTJ thinks, if you wanted something, why not just say so? Breaking the cycle requires learning to translate. For INFJs, this doesn't mean abandoning depth or nuance. It means adding direct clarity as well. A practical tactic is to first state the outcome you want in plain terms, and then share the emotional reason behind it. For example, I'd feel really cared for if you brought me a small, thoughtful gift. It tells me you see me. This blends both worlds. The INTJ gets clear, actionable information, and the INFJ still gets to connect emotionally. For INTJs, hearing needs stated so openly feels efficient and respectful, allowing them to respond without guessing games. If both sides shift slightly, the gap narrows. The INFJ stops treating hinting as the only path to intimacy, and the INTJ begins to appreciate that clarity on needs opens the door to the kind of emotional connection the INFJ craves. Later in this video, we'll share a simple language trick that often makes INTJs act like they intuitively get you. For now, keep in mind that communication struggles often spill into deeper issues of connection, and that tension comes into sharp focus when silence itself starts to feel heavy. Can you ever feel alone while sitting right next to someone you care about deeply? For many INFJ-INTJ pairs, this is exactly where the tension lies. It's not that love is absent, but that each partner defines connection in a very different way. INFJs, guided by extroverted feeling, FE, need clear emotional reciprocity. They thrive on the visible back and forth of words, gestures, and emotional mirroring. Shared laughter, affirming words, or even short conversations about feelings assure them that the relationship is alive and mutual. Without that feedback loop, INFJs can feel as if they are reaching out and finding nothing in return. INTJs, which processes values and emotions inwardly, their feelings run deep, nor do they frame expression as essential for connection. Instead, intellectual engagement. For them, a long silence while working on separate tasks or reading side by side can feel profoundly intimate. That comfort in quiet comes from a belief that trust is strong enough to exist without constant maintenance. In their world, saying nothing doesn't signal distance. It often confirms security. This contrast is perhaps most visible in the silent togetherness moment. Imagine an INTJ immersed in a book, feeling completely bonded by the quiet presence of their partner. To the INFJ, with no emotional cues, they may start to wonder whether the INTJ is upset, slipping away. What feels safe and intimate to the INTJ can, to the INFJ, feel like a void that demands a relationship to. But to the INTJ, who is just feeling peacefully connected, the question can feel sudden and invasive, as though they are being pressed to externalize private emotions they have no words for. While the INTJ feels misunderstood for not operating on the same emotional wavelength, the underlying issue is not that one style is right and the other wrong, but that they represent two different definitions of intimacy. Silence for INTJs is a sign of trust. Silence for INFJs can read as absence. Both experiences are legitimate, but without translation, each person reads the other in the most painful way possible. Recognizing the difference is the first step, but small, practical adjustments can help stop the spiral. For INFJs, one effective tactic is to frame the need for emotional sharing as a planned check-in rather than a sudden demand. Saying, "Could we set aside 10 minutes tonight to talk about how we're feeling?" makes the request feel structured and less like an audit. For INTJs, a simple acknowledgement goes a long way. Offering one short line such as, "I'm good and I'm glad you're here," gives the INFJ the reassurance they need without requiring the INTJ to over-explain. These small moves respect each other's wiring. One side, S need for expressed connection, and the other, S need for autonomy. It also helps to remember what binds these types together in the first place. Both are guided by introverted intuition, NI, which draws them toward depth, meaning, and long-range vision. This shared orientation explains why so many INFJ-INTJ couples feel an almost instant recognition of one another. Their bond isn't built on surface chatter. It's grounded in authenticity and intellectual resonance. Silent moments do carry meaning for both sides, but each interprets that meaning differently. Reframing the problem as two valid styles of connection rather than proof of incompatibility helps keep the relationship hopeful. Silence doesn't have to be emptiness, and emotional talk doesn't have to be intrusion. With just a little awareness and practice, both approaches can coexist in a way that strengthens the bond instead of eroding it. Of course, this still leaves one big question. If so much effort is required to bridge these constant differences, why do INFJs and INTJs keep finding each other in the first place? At the center of this pairing is what we can call the unstoppable force paradox. Beneath the surface clashes, INFJs and INTJs share a rare strength. They are both guided by the same dominant cognitive function, introverted intuition, or NI. NI is what drives them to search for long-term patterns and deeper meanings, to look past the present moment for hidden connections, and to construct vivid future models that others rarely see. It's why these two types so often feel like they get each other instantly. Both prefer depth over small talk, both think in systems and possibilities, and both are motivated by a vision of authenticity, integrity, and self-improvement. This is the superpower that keeps pulling them together. What makes this paradoxical is that the same need that creates a bond over the what and the why of life, the vision and purpose, also sets the stage for battles over the how. The INFJ implements their vision by prioritizing harmony through extroverted feeling, FI, while the INTJ executes theirs through the objectivity and efficiency of extroverted thinking, T. The distinction is simple but powerful. Same map, different driving instructions. Both know where they want to go. Both agree on why it matters. But the moment they disagree on how to get there, the dynamic can shift from alliance to standstill. This is the moment where hope of easy alignment has to be let go. Neither partner will start thinking like the other, and waiting for that conversion only creates resentment. The way forward is not to change each other's wiring, but to translate between the systems. For the INFJ, this translation means replacing hints with clear, outcome-focused requests. Instead of implying, "I wish you would notice how upset I am," they can say directly, "I need time to talk because I'm feeling anxious and it would help me feel supported." The directness does not erase the emotion. It gives the INTJ a defined action to respond to. For the INTJ, translation means acknowledging the INFJ's feelings as valid data, rather than treating them as noise or problems to solve. Adding one short reflection. "I hear that you're frustrated, and I want to understand. Do you want me to suggest a step forward?" Can bridge the divide. This simple acknowledgement respects that the INFJ's emotional state is real, even if the INTJ processes feelings differently, while also giving the INTJ a way to contribute constructively without abandoning their natural style. When both partners make these shifts, the bond that first drew them together becomes functional rather than destructive. The INFJ's insight into people combines with the INTJ's insight into systems, creating a balance between empathy and efficiency that can turn them into a remarkably effective team. The research is clear. When they validate each other's processes instead of competing, their shared vision and long-term orientation make them unusually powerful partners, both in relationships and in collaboration. The paradox, then, is not that they are doomed to conflict. It is that the very tension that frustrates them is what makes their combination so potent once managed. The same pull that makes them feel seen can make the clashes sting, but it is also what creates the possibility of growth. They don't need to erase the differences. They need to recognize that each is carrying half of a larger design. Here is a challenge for you. Try one of these translations for 1 week. If you're an INFJ, replace a hint with a plain request that states both the need and the feeling. If you're an INTJ, acknowledge the feeling first, then offer a possible next step if one is wanted. Then see how it changes the tone of a single conversation. And this is where the bigger picture comes into focus. What may feel like constant chaos isn't evidence that the bond is failing. It's evidence that two very different minds are learning how to sync. At their core, INFJs and INTJs connect through shared intuition and vision. But their clashes come from opposite ways of executing that vision. Harmony through Phi versus efficiency through T. The takeaway is simple. Translate instead of hinting, validate instead of dismissing, and, when needed, schedule small check-ins so both partners feel seen. With patience, those differences can shift from constant friction into a balanced bond where both strengths are honored. Now I'd love to hear from you. Are you an INFJ or an INTJ? Share one clash story or the single habit that helped you most. Your insight could help another rare pair through their next conflict. And if you want more research-backed breakdowns of type versus type dynamics, subscribe for future insights.